This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Today we're welcoming back Rick Mazur, the CEO and President of Forum Energy Metals, to carry on looking at the company's presentation and plans for 2022, this time looking at the energy metals side of the business. In the first series that we did, we looked at uranium, and it's worth taking a look at that if you haven't already seen that. But today we're going to be focusing on the energy metals. So, Rick, thank you very much for your time. Over to you. You can start us off and take us through the presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Let's move on to the energy metals part of our portfolio, which I think is a very important part of Forum and value for our shareholders, copper, nickel, and cobalt. So when we made the move into the energy metal space in 2017, copper was very big on our list. There's no question copper, it has a tremendous future. Fitch Solutions, which is a group here in North America, suggests that there's going to be 3% compounded annual growth rate over the next 10 years in copper, and for good reasons. I mean, if you look at what's going on around the world, I'm using some North American examples here, but infrastructure build in the USA is going to need a lot of copper metal. Transportation is moving very quickly into the electric vehicle market, and every electric vehicle, or most electric vehicles on average, use about 5 times as much copper as an internal combustion engine. So there's going to be a lot of demand for copper there. And for charging stations, I mean, you need copper, you need the infrastructure at charging stations. So there's lots of copper that goes into that. Also, with global warming and climate change, the world wants us to fix that somehow by reducing our fossil fuel consumption. There's going to be renewable energy builds around the world, wind and solar. All of those need copper as well. And then transmission of that electricity needs copper. So very strong future for copper for sure.
Okay, good.
So in 2020 and 2021, our flagship project was our Janus Lake Copper Silver project, which is 100% owned by Forum. In 2018, we drilled it and got some very good results. It's a copper silver sedimentary style deposit, very similar to the types of deposit in Zambia and the DRC. So we attracted Rio Tinto to the project in 2019, and they had 3 drill campaigns on it over the last 2 years. They must spend 80% or must spend $30 million to earn 80%. And to date, they've spent $14 million on this project on 3 drill campaigns. The results that we got from this are, in my view, are tremendous. I believe that there is an economic deposit there somewhere. But in 2021, late 2021, Rio Tinto informed us that they were not planning to explore here in 2022, which kind of was a shock to me. I think the potential is great, but for a company the size of Rio Tinto, if they're looking for 5 million tons of copper, maybe they don't see that here. If you ask me, is there going to be 2 or 3 million tons of copper on this property? I'd say absolutely. I think the results that we got on our Janus and Janus targets, and the potential of other targets on the property that have not been drilled, and the potential of the 50-kilometer strike extent of this whole Wollaston Basin has barely been scratched. So I believe that there's an economic deposit on the property, and this has actually given us a great opportunity for us to compile the data, and we're doing that as we speak. We're compiling all of the exploration data, the $10 million of actually in the ground data that Rio Tinto has spent on this project. It's really added a lot of value to the project.
That's a significant amount of money that's gone into the ground, and it obviously looked good to them to begin with. It's Rio wouldn't get involved in something if it didn't look attractive to them. Did they give you a reason as to why they weren't continuing or not?
Well, budget constraints.
Okay.
They compete with their exploration projects from around the world. They have a finite exploration budget, and essentially they did not get a piece of that pie this year. I know that the Canadian Exploration Group was a little bit disappointed by that, but it is what it is.
Okay. But you, as you said, you still believe there is an economic deposit here. You're going to be working through all of the data that Rio have given you effectively. What are the plans to take it forward?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, out of the $14 million, probably $10 million of that is real good exploration data. There was a lot of infrastructure that went into building a road and building the camp here, but there's $10 million of exploration data here for us to sift through. So as I said, I mean, I can see from the results to date on the Jansen and Janus targets that there's certainly deposits there. We just need to drill some more. Rio Tinto moved from one to the other to try and build obviously something very large, but I think we can come up with economic deposits on this property by doing further good exploration work, and that's the whole reason for the compilation that we're undergoing right now. And we've engaged an independent geologist that is an expert in these types of deposits to help us out with that. There's also to the south here, Rio Tinto found some very interesting boulders that have high-grade copper, and they've never been followed up. These targets, historical targets here, Genie, Juno, and Roberts, there's never been any diamond drill holes put into that. Lots of potential here to build an economic deposit and a resource.
Okay. So no active programs planned then? It's a case of looking at the data and then deciding on the next steps, is that right?
Yeah, no, nothing at this stage. No active programs at this stage.
Okay.
We're certainly going to review our options. We also so on the energy metals front, we had a drill program on our Love Lake copper, nickel, platinum, palladium project. We drilled 11 holes there in the summer, almost 3,000 meters of drilling. The results from that are still pending. Labs are really backed up, as I'm sure you've heard from other exploration companies. Because there's just so much activity. We have over 2,000 samples in the labs at the moment, and once all those results come in, we'll make a decision as to how we want to proceed with this project. It's a grassroots venture.
Mm-hmm.
an exploration concept. Okay, and then the other project that we worked on in 2021 was our Quartz Gulch project in the Idaho copper cobalt belt. This is a cobalt copper deposit. We're on trend of a historical cobalt copper deposit called the Blackbird Mine here. The mine series trend runs right onto our ground here, just to the south and east of the Blackbird deposit. Jervois Global is developing here the Idaho Cobalt operation, is what they call it, and that is going into production in the middle of 2022. So this is a strategically well located cobalt project, we believe, and this was the first time this summer and fall that this property was adequately explored. It was identified in the 1980s as having potential. There was some geochemical anomalies down here, so we sent in a crew for about a month, did some mapping, prospecting, and soil sampling, and the mapping is coming up with some very interesting things that we probably are going to be following up on. We just need to get the results. So the results from that, again, stuck in the lab, but once those results are out, we'll let shareholders know what the plan is for this project.
So on the energy metals side of the business then, is it fair to say that perhaps maybe the focus or the flagship is more in the uranium at this stage? You've obviously got drilling very soon, and the energy metals side is earlier stage and perhaps not as exciting. Is it fair to say that, or not?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think Janus Lake is, in our view, is still a tremendous copper asset. I see good things coming out of this Janus Lake compilation that we're going to do, and we'll see where that takes us on this project.
Okay.
But you're right. As you can see from this chart here, the focus will be drilling and doing geophysics on 3 of our uranium projects. And then we're always looking at new projects with a Saskatchewan focus, but I shouldn't say just Saskatchewan, with a Canadian focus. And we have a lot of good projects that are available for joint venture.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So those are things that we can look forward to in 2022 as well.
Okay, I guess I was thinking more from like a drilling side of it. It's always exciting for investors when drills are turning, but of course then depends how backed up the labs are. You might have to wait a long time to get the actual assays back. So you are kind of in a good mix at the moment, aren't you? You're about to start drilling at the uranium projects, but we're also expecting assay results from some of the energy metals projects as well. So do you anticipate a fair bit of news flow across really all the projects?
Yes, we do. There will be a lot of news flow over 2022. We will be basically active the whole year, Q1 through Q2, moving into Q3, and then there's certainly the new project generation part of our business that I think should have some very interesting things coming down in 2022.
Okay, and could there be an opportunity for perhaps a catalyst moment or an exciting moment at some point across some of the projects?
Yeah, hit uranium in the drill hole at Wollaston or High Rock. That's gonna get the market pretty excited.
Okay. Well, Rick Mazur, the President and CEO of Forum Energy Metals, thank you very much for going through that with us today.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.